and we'll talk about our reactions to it compared to the scene we reviewed in the book.
Harry. Here you are, you came. Now, are you sure about this, Harry? You know this is very advanced magic, well beyond the ordinary wizarding level.
I'm sure.
Well, everything's prepared. Now, the spell I'm going to try to teach you is called the Patronus Charm. Did you ever hear of it? No? Well, Patronus is a kind of positive force, and for the wizard who can conjure one, it works something like a shield with a Dementor feeding on it rather than him. But in order for it to work, you need to think of a memory. Not just any memory, a very happy memory, a very powerful memory. Can you do this? Yes. Very well. Close your eyes. Concentrate. Explore your past. Do you have a memory? Allow it to fill you up. Lose yourself within it. Then speak the incantation Expecto Patronum.
Expecto Patronum.
Very good. Shall we? Wand is ready.
Expecto Patronum! Expecto! Expecto!
Here we go. Come on, sit up. Deep breaths. It's all right. I didn't expect you to do it the first time. That would have been remarkable. Here, eat this. You'll feel better.
That's one nasty Dementor.
Oh, no. That was a boggart, Harry. A boggart. The real thing would be worse. Much, much worse. As a matter of interest, what were you thinking? Which memory did you choose?
The first time I rode a broom.
Well, that's not good enough. Not nearly good enough.
There's another. It's not happy, exactly. Well, it is. It's the happiest I've ever felt. But it's complicated.
Is it strong? Then let's give it a try. You feel ready?
Just do it. Expecto Patronum! Expecto Patronum!
Well done, Harry. Well done.
I think I've had enough. For today.
Yes, sit down. Here, eat this. It helps. It really helps. And just so you know, Harry, I think you would have given your father a run for his money. And that is saying something.
I was thinking of him. And Mum. Seeing their faces. They were talking to me. Just talking. That's the memory I chose. I don't even know if it's real. But it's the best I have.
All right. What are your thoughts on, especially for the group that did the books versus the movies, the Hufflepuffs? What is your thought of this scene compared to the movie? What'd you guys think? Any thoughts? Hufflepuffs, you guys did this topic. So in the book, right? Let's start with what's so right. The memory is actually sad. It's sort of like a bittersweet memory, right? Um, he used the memory of his parents as well. He actually does do a little bit of Patronus in the Patronus chapter on page 241, 242. Right? He does do a little Patronus, but it really takes weeks for him to get to the level where he pushes this one off. But he does do a little bit. Okay. And also in the book, it took him 3 tries before he got it. And remember, we always do things in trilogies and it's all like always 3s and 7s, 11s, 31, all those numbers show up. And in the book, it was the 3rd try. In the movie, it was his 2nd try. And there was a lot more discussion in the book. Okay. Yeah, I also like the fact that he doesn't succeed right away in the book, that it takes him a little bit of time. And he, also the memory in the book is different, right? In the movie, it's the memory of his parents, and it had to be a really happy memory. And then the book, it says the moment he'd first found out he was a wizard and would be leaving the Dursleys for Hogwarts. It wasn't a happy memory, but he didn't know what was. Concentrating very hard on how he had felt when he realized that he'd be leaving Privet Drive. Harry got to his feet and faced the packing case once more. Okay. And so it was his happiness of being selected a wizard. In the movie, they use the memory of his parents. Yeah, honestly, all these movies could be like Marvel length movies at 2 hours or more, or 3 hours. If Marvel can do it, we can do it. In fact, there was a time that movies were kept to an hour and a half, no more than 2 hours, because people thought audiences didn't have the length of time. And then Marvel is the one who brought back the longer movies. If you go back to the old movies of the 50s and 60s, some of them were like 2-3 hours long. And then we went to shorter movies for a long time, and now we're back to long movies. You're right. And yes, Yvette, I love that you're mentioning that he was, Lupin was caught off guard by mentioning his father, James. And that's really important. Remember, we talked about how that's important because we know the Patronus, the word Patronus comes from the word patron, from paternity, and it's about a male figure. And so he's putting all of that onto his father. He's really going to see his father, and this is foreshadowing what we're going to see at the end of the book. Okay, so I just wanted to bring that scene back up because I think it's so important. Okay, so that's the Patronus. Later on in book 5, I want to mention that there's a really great scene with Neville and Harry when they're practicing their as Dumbledore's army. And I think part of it is the Patronus scene, and Harry and Neville have a conversation about how they're going to make their parents very proud. Okay. After 2 hours, I need a break. Oh, so yeah. I know, like, I drink a lot of water during the day, and I'm like, I don't know if I could sit there that long. Okay, so all right, let's get to one thing. So Ron and Harry are both upset with Hermione. 1, because Scabbers is missing, and 2, because of the firebolt being taken. And Hagrid calls them out on it on page 274, chapter 14, the chapter Snape's Grudge, 274. Hagrid tells them that Hagrid tells them that, you know, that their friendship is worth more than a rat and a broomstick. And he tells them that, and he says, her heart's in the right place, Hermione has, and you two not talking to her. It's just, if she just get rid of that cat, I'd speak to her again, Ron said angrily, but she's still sticking up for it. It's a maniac, and she won't hear a word about it. Ah, well, people can be stupid about their pets, said Hagrid wisely. Behind him, Buckbeak spat a few ferret bones onto Hagrid's pillow. They spent the rest of the visit discussing Gryffindor's chances for the Quidditch Cup. So Hagrid calls them out, like, you know, that they're wrong. You know, about their friendship with Hermione and then being upset with her. Hermione's got her heart in the right place. So that's an important friendship scene. The other thing we get to is Harry gets caught with the Marauders map in his pocket, and he gets caught by Snape, right? And so he and Neville are walking around, they're caught, and he says, "What are you two doing here?" said Snape, coming to a halt and looking for one of them to the other. An odd place to meet. To Harry's immense disquiet, Snape's eyes flicked to the doorways on either side of them and then to the one-eyed witch. We're not meeting here, so we just met here. So they're getting caught, okay? So Harry was trying to get out of Hogwarts as well. Now, one of the things that we learn, though, is we get the Shrieking Shack on page 279, and it gets mentioned there, the most haunted dwelling in Britain. So I just want to mention that because that is going to be foreshadowing to the end of the book. My goal is to get out of chapters 12 through 16 today and get to the next section. The other big section is when Harry gets caught with this map. Snape reads the map, and it tells him to get his nose out of it, and it actually insults him, and he calls for Lupin, of all people, to review the map. And Lupin then scolds Harry later and says, your parents gave up their lives to keep you alive, Harry. A poor way to repay them.